On my trip in Uganda, I went on a gorilla trekking tour. This was actually in the south of the country, around the border with Rwanda. The tour started quite early, maybe around like 7:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning. And once you arrive, you're actually like greeted or like welcomed by some songs and some dancing. This is done by a local performing group. And after that, you are given an introduction by some of the tour guides on what to expect on the tour. So things like what to do and things not to do. This was when we're getting the introduction. Basically, they have multiple gorilla families and you are assigned a family. But before you start trekking, professional trackers are already out. And once they find out the location of the assigned family, they send out signals to the guides. And once the signals have been received, the guides take you to where the assigned family is. This was actually the most expensive activity I've ever done because gorilla permits are priced by nationality. And East African citizens pay significantly less, while foreign non-residents pay a lot more. I had to pay $800 for the permit. The good thing is that this was a gift, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to afford it. And this $800 permit actually allows you to spend just 1 hour with the gorillas, so it gets even more expensive if you want to spend more time with them. And it's actually cheaper than Rwanda as well, because in Rwanda, they start from like $1,000 going up. Without this funding, it's unlikely that the government would be able to protect the gorillas as effectively as they do now. The gorillas found in this region are mountain gorillas, and these types of gorillas are endangered. They've been heavily affected by poaching, habitat loss, and a lot of other factors. To keep the gorillas safe, the Ugandan government has placed strict protections around their habitat. Unfortunately, these conservation efforts also meant that some local communities had to be displaced. So they had to be displaced just to create the protected areas for the gorillas. This protected area is called Bwindi Impenetrable National Park, and it really lives up to its name. It's a tropical rainforest and very hard to navigate. And once you find the gorillas, it's very hard to keep up with them because this is a rainforest, so on the ground, it's quite slippery because it does rain a lot. Also, you have plants everywhere, and the ground is not exactly even, so it's like you're going upwards, downwards, and then there's like plants everywhere. So yeah, it is a lot of work.
Let's keep going.
You know, I find it funny that a group of gorillas is also called a band. So basically, I joined a band of gorillas. In this experience, you are required to wear face masks. This is to protect the gorillas because even a common cold can actually harm them and they're already endangered, so a face mask is mandatory. This experience actually changed the way I think about gorillas as well because they're often portrayed as violent, but honestly, they come off really gentle. I understand that they can get violent, but I think it's mostly if you're doing something annoying or if you're just in their way. But if you stay out of their way and you don't do anything annoying, I think they're gentle because all they do is just sit there, eat, move around. That's all they do. The crazy thing is that most of their diet is made up of plants. They do eat insects as well, like ants, but this makes up a very small percentage of their diet. And despite this, they are incredibly strong. And the low ones are so energetic.
Good chance for selfies because you can't get it. Good chance for selfies. Can you open? step anyway. There's another one coming. Okay. It's okay. Let's change direction.
At one point, the silverback was very close to me. I was so scared. You didn't even see it in my face. I honestly thought I was going to get smacked. His presence is really something. His energy is calm and controlled, but at the same time, very powerful and commanding. The worst thing you can do when he's close to you is try to give him eye contact, because eye contact means you're challenging him. Overall, this was so fun. One of my favorite movies growing up was Tarzan, and I've watched countless of documentaries about this kind of world, but I never thought I'd actually experience it, And thank you to the person who made it happen. You know yourself. I'm not going to mention you. Also, I did book this with DAF Safaris, so if you're interested in this activity, check them out. And if you think it's too expensive, there are other activities as well you could do, like bird watching and things like that. So those kind of activities are way cheaper than the gorilla trekking activity. I do think this is one of the must-do things in Uganda, though, because you can't really do this in a lot of countries. Towards the end of the trekking, we came across this school. They were having an event for the whole community, and some of the audience was just too cute. After the gorilla trekking, we went on another tour called the Batwa cultural tour. This tour was actually advertised to us just right outside where we started the trekking. We didn't have any cash on us, but the guide who was doing the tours said you can still do the tours, you just have to make a bank transfer, which we did. And once we started the tour, right at the end, some of the locals who were involved in the tour, they were still expecting us to make some kind of cash payment. We didn't have cash at that time, so we had a bit of a misunderstanding. I also understand where they're coming from, because in these kind of communities where they've been displaced and don't have a lot of sources of income, they rely on immediate cash. And if you don't have that and you're telling them that they're going to receive it in a day or 2 days time after they've given you the services already, then this might be difficult for them to understand. I had a similar situation in Namibia with the Bushmen. So I was in Tumkwe. In Tumkwe, the process was that we paid through the hotel, and the hotel calls the tour guide, and the tour guide comes to pick you up. So you don't need any more cash once you go to these communities. We did exactly that. And once we arrived at the community that was giving us a tour, they wanted more cash, or they wanted more things from us. And they were kind of upset that we didn't have cash on us. And in the end, they demanded more from us. We had to even buy them some more things. So in my opinion, I think if you're going to do this kind of cultural tours, it's best to have some cash with you just to avoid these kind of misunderstandings. I still highly recommend these tours because these communities have been displaced, and for some people, this is the only way they can make an income. So doing these tours also helps other communities. This Batwa tour, they give you a tour about their houses, how they lived in the forest, the food they used to eat, the singing, the dancing. They also teach you how to make a fire, which is, I think, very useful in terms of survival skills. So just like the Bushmen of Namibia. Their language, if I have any Malawians watching, it's very similar to Chichewa or Nyanja for Zambians. They said a lot of words which I was able to pick up, like mana, which means child, kuja, which means eating. So that was really interesting to know. I can't show you the fire they made because of YouTube guidelines. It's really silly, but they do flag things like this. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.
There's people still trying.